Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life Stories. Thanks so much for being here. Today on the podcast, I speak with Lea Cassarino. She is a volunteer and works for Lasagna Love. Lasagna Love provides lasagnas for people who are in need of a good hot meal. We talked about how you volunteer, we talked about how you can receive a lasagna. They are all over the United States and even in a couple of other countries. So it's amazing what this organization has been doing to help people. The word of the week this week
It's the word of the week.
is able. I've talked about this multiple times with different organizations, different nonprofits. But what I love, and Lea and I talked about this too, what I love is when people are giving of their time. In all of these nonprofits I spoke with, they need volunteers, they need people to help and to do what they can. They need people to do what they are able. What are you able to do? I am not working full time, and I know when you are working full time, it is difficult to have the time to do something extra. But if you are able, what are you doing to help those around you? Maybe you've never been in need before. Maybe, you've had a great life. Everything's been fairly easy and gone well, and you've never had a need for a hot meal from someone else. But maybe you're able to donate of your time, or you're able to donate food or whatever it is. I would encourage you to think about that and look around and see, because there are opportunities everywhere to volunteer and give of your time. So I encourage you to see what you're able to do to help those around you. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a great day. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks.
Good, good, good. Really, I just wanted to talk to you. And I am looking for nonprofits that are doing unique things. There are nonprofits everywhere. And,
Yeah.
there's a lot of the same, which is all wonderful. It's all wonderful. But I love finding things, organizations that are doing very unique things. And I was looking for some in Delaware. A video popped up, and I guess it had been somebody on the news who was from Delaware that was a volunteer. And so that's why I wanted to stick with Delaware. That's a state I haven't spoken with yet. And um, I love the idea of Lasagna Love. I think it's so cool because it's so much more than about lasagna.
Yes.
And
So true.
it's all over the place. So I would love for you to tell me more about the organization and then how you got started volunteering for them.
Sure. Well, maybe I'll start by just telling at the beginning and telling you how the organization started itself.
Sure.
And that was actually during the pandemic.
Okay.
The founder of Lasagna Love, Rhiannon Men, she was noticing during the pandemic how her neighbors were having different difficulties, be it financial from getting laid off or couldn't get out of the house or whatever. She was feeling kind of helpless herself, not being able to do anything. And
Uh-huh.
then she hit upon this idea of, well, why don't I just make some food for my neighbors and deliver it?
Mhm.
So she started doing that. And she posted on Facebook, asking if anybody was interested in receiving a meal like a lasagna or something, and she'd be happy to deliver it. Well, word got out because, the power of social media,
Right.
and other people started contacting her saying they would love to help her to deliver these meals. And so they started helping her, and it just grew and grew from there. And now Lasagna Love is in every state in the United States, as well as in Canada and Australia. And
Wow.
they have, it's over like 57,000 volunteers, I think it is
Oh my
right
goodness.
now. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's really how it started.
Uh-huh.
Uh, as far as myself, well, I had recently retired, and we relocated to Delaware.
Uh-huh.
And I was, kind of bored really with being retired. I'm used to kind of being on the go a lot. And so I wanted to find something where I was helping people, because in my work life, I always had jobs in a very helping profession. And
Mm-hmm.
I worked a lot with underserved populations and things. And so a friend of mine told me about Lasagna Love. And so I looked into it and I thought, well, this is perfect. I love to cook. I'm Italian. I want to help people, marriage made in heaven.
Yeah.
So I signed up on the website. It's very easy to sign up. I can tell you that process a little bit later. And so I signed up and I started making lasagnas. And after a few months, the person who was running this program really has a bigger job. She's really a regional coordinator, director, not just running a local program like this. And she really needed somebody to handle just the state of Delaware. So she put out a call, and I said, sounds great to me, because it kind of was right in my wheelhouse, because I always managed programs and things when I was working. So I signed up to do that, and that's how I became what they call the local leader of Lasagna Love in Delaware. So I do that, and once a month I still make and deliver lasagnas too.
That is wonderful. So I was going to ask you how often y'all deliver. Is that something that you just decide, or is that something Lasagna Love has a plan and a schedule?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Let me just take you through the signing up process to be a
Sure.
volunteer, and we'll address that too. So we have a website, lasagnalove.org.
Mhm.
And if you put that in, you can look for, how to become a volunteer, or just put lasagnalove.org/volunteer. And you'll get a screen where you can sign up. And included in the signing up, and one of the things that you do is you determine your schedule. So that includes, for example, how often do you want to make and deliver lasagna? And then the choices are weekly, every other week, once a month, or maybe just this once. Sometimes somebody just wants to try it out and just do it once.
Sure.
So that's the first thing you determine, the frequency. The next thing you determine is how many families do you want to be matched with each time, each week or each month, or however you signed up. So most people will put anywhere between 1 to 3 is very common. Sometimes we get a little more than that. And then you also indicate how far are you willing to drive?
Right.
Because depending on where you live, you may, like in Delaware, for example, which is famous for its beaches down in the southern part of the state, a lot of the people who request the lasagnas live more inland from the beaches. We have a lot of volunteers who live near the beach, so they would need to drive a lot further.
Yeah.
So so you can sign up. Most people sign up around 10 to 15 miles. Some do 20, 30 miles, depending on where they live. So once you have signed up and determined all of that criteria,
Mm-hmm.
then we begin to match you. And well, first of all, you go through a training program, and on our website, there's various videos to train the volunteers, and a step-by-step process, and a lot of information on there. So that's very, very helpful, so that you can start off feeling like secure in what you need to do and how to do it.
Sure.
And so once you get your first, what we call a match, you will have been matched with a request that is within your driving limits, and it will be, you get however many you signed up to get and how often you signed up to get it. Another thing you indicate when you sign up, by the way, is what type of lasagnas are you willing to make? Are you willing to do like special dietary concerns? Like some people said, yes, if somebody needs a vegan lasagna or vegetarian or dairy free or something like that, I will do that. So all that stuff gets matched up using an algorithm that they have. And the volunteer then gets an email saying, you've got a match.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go through a process of contacting the people, setting up the delivery date and time, clarifying with them, like, this is the kind of lasagna I make. Is that something you would eat? Or maybe saying, oh, I understand you need something gluten-free, so this is what I'm planning on making, and they clarify all of that, double check their address, and then they go ahead and make it, and they deliver it. And one of the great things that they found, Lasagna Love did a kind of a survey of a lot of the recipients, and they found the vast majority of them are planning to or do give back as a result of that. So, and sometimes, like we just had one the other day, somebody will volunteer who was once a recipient themselves, and their circumstances have changed. And so now they want to give back by volunteering. So that's always so gratifying as well.
It is. I saw on the website it said 97.7% of the recipients planned on paying it forward. I love that.
Yep.
I love that.
Yes.
And one of the things that I hoped for my podcast, as I'm talking to all these different nonprofits, I'm hoping that people will hear every time and say, I can do something like that right where I am. And this program is a lot like a program that I talked to called Icing Smiles. Have you heard of them? I spoke to a
No.
woman in Maryland, and they have volunteer bakers all over the United States, and they bake cakes and mostly cakes, sometimes cupcakes, sometimes cookies for children with terminal illnesses. And so
Mm,
it's kind of the same thing. You go through the, process of volunteering and you pick out your area. I looked on y'all's website. I'm in Texas. And
mhm.
so the woman that runs the uh, portion in Texas is in Fort Worth, which is a couple hours from me. But I'm wondering in my area if there are people that are signing up for that, because that's
Oh,
something I can do. That is something I can definitely do. Cooking to me is easy. When somebody's sick, someone is had a baby or had surgery or whatever, that is a very simple thing to be able to help. And it's a big help. And so I'm going to look into signing up on that. So I
oh,
saw
that'd be
that
great.
um, y'all, Lasagna Love has delivered 430,000. I'm sure it's more than that by now, but
Yeah.
on the website,
Mhm.
430,000 meals. That is incredible.
That's right. I know. And over 1.8 million people have been served as
That
a
is
result.
amazing. That is
It
amazing.
really is. And I can tell you here in Delaware, which is a very small state,
It is.
we still just last year, we served over 4,322 people,
Wow.
and that's over 1,000 lasagnas.
Yeah.
So, and many of those people were, children as well as adults too.
Yeah.
So it made quite a big impact,
That is,
you know.
it's just so beautiful. Like I said, it's so much more than about lasagna. It's about
Yes,
giving back and helping. And if you can help, why would you not? Why would you
ex
not?
and it's so rewarding too.
It is. It's very rewarding. Do you have a story that is your favorite story? Maybe a family that you delivered to, or something that happened that you just
Well, I
loved
did
that
have,
stood out?
yeah, I did have an interesting situation. I had a older couple who I delivered to, and this particular person had her church also helped by, they have a food pantry, so they gave her food too, but they gave her too much. It was just the two of them, and it was
Yeah.
just too much food. And so she wanted to know if I could use it. Well, it just so happened that my other match that week was a woman with 5 children and who was pregnant with her sixth.
Oh my goodness.
And so I asked her if she could use some food, additional food. I could deliver that with the lasagna, and she said sure. And we got boxes and boxes of food.
Oh
I mean, and
wow.
all different kinds, and it was all good. It wasn't outdated or anything like
Yeah.
that, and it was from canned vegetables to fruit to pastas to all kinds of stuff. And it was a just kind of like such a unique situation to work out that
Yeah.
way with one recipient was helping another recipient. So I
That
just
is
I just love
amazing.
that. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
great. And
What's
just
your
so many, well, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, 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 you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so many of the volunteers have, expressed their gratitude, and it's not, as you said, it's not just the food, but it's
Right.
being able to have maybe time with their family that they would have had
Yeah.
to spend in the kitchen, or maybe they're on the verge of homelessness, living in a hotel, and they don't even have access to a stove. Really, they have to microwave stuff
Right.
or get fast food, and so have a hot meal like this where everybody can sit around and eat together is just, it helps to build families too.
Right. So how do people qualify to receive I know, you get online to volunteer, but how do people qualify to receive a lasagna?
That's a very good question. First of all, there's no specific criteria. One of the core values in Lasagna Love is that there is no judgment passed.
Right.
So, for whatever reason, you're in a situation where you need to request lasagna, that's fine.
Yeah.
And to request the lasagna for yourself, or you can also nominate someone for a
Oh,
lasagna.
okay.
Like sometimes we have caregivers will nominate the person they're taking care of for lasagna, things like that. So you also go to lasagnalove.org
Mhm.
/request, and you can request lasagna. There's a form you fill out with your name and address and phone number, because we contact our recipients usually starting by text usually, and then oftentimes they'll put a little background information as to why they want the lasagna. I mean, it's not required, but they'll do that. They'll also indicate if there's any kind of dietary restrictions or special
Right.
needs, or maybe they don't eat pork or, something like that. And they'll put all that on there. And then that goes into, that's all online. And then that gets directed to the appropriate area.
Mhm.
and then gets matched with a person when a volunteer in that area who can fulfill that request is available to do that.
Yeah.
That's how that works. And the
Okay.
people who request, you kind of touched upon it a little bit. I mean, it's from, people who are having financial issues to a new mom who just had a baby, is just
Yeah.
overwhelmed, can't, it's too tired to cook. I've had a number of times, I've had people who are living with relatives and they're so grateful. They want to do something for the relatives to
Right.
enable to contribute to the house by having like a lasagna delivered, for example. We have a lot of people who are recovering from surgery who maybe are the primary cook in the house, and they
Mhm.
can't really do it. And so we help out that way. So there's a lot of different reasons.
I love it. What is your favorite thing about what you're doing right now?
What is my favorite thing about it? Just I guess, I love to feed people. So, knowing that, somebody is having a good, home cooked meal,
Yeah.
filling, and many times will last for more than one day,
Right.
depending on the number of people eating it.
Yeah.
That, is good. And just, as we talk about, in Lasagna Love, how we're spreading kindness one lasagna at a time. And
Yeah.
it's so true. And just being able to, help out your neighbor, in a way that you're comfortable doing something that you know how to do, and
Yeah.
is making somebody happy. That's really the bottom line.
Yeah. I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
there anything else that I didn't ask you about? You kind of really told me a lot about everything.
um I just I would encourage people to volunteer. We're always looking for volunteers, and
Yes.
really, to be a volunteer, you just have to know how to cook, to be able to follow a
Yeah.
recipe,
Yeah.
and be willing to be able to deliver it,
Yeah.
and just want to help people.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I do have to make clear, though, is that the volunteers, they pay for the ingredients,
Right.
and they buy all that, and that's not
Yeah.
something that Lasagna Love pays for.
Right.
And for some people, that might be difficult, but sometimes there's ways around that too, with
Yeah.
fundraising or asking friends to, maybe they can't do it, but they'll contribute ingredients or something for you to do it, things like
Yeah.
that. So that's another way to do it. But we're always looking for volunteers because there is such a need, and it's been, at least my experience here in Delaware, it's been growing quite a bit lately.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who are, the price of food, I don't need to tell you, I'm sure, has
Oh,
really
yeah.
gone through the roof.
Yes.
And it's been very much of a strain on many people. So
Yeah.
this really kind of helps out that weekly, food budget there, to have a extra meal like that.
Yeah.
So I would encourage people to volunteer, but certainly people who are hesitant to ask for help. That's
Yeah.
another great thing about Lasagna Love, because it's really, in a way, kind of anonymous. I put that in quotes. Of course, you have to give your name and everything. But one of the things that we have is a contactless delivery.
Yeah.
So when I bring a lasagna to somebody's house, at a prearranged date and time, I tell them, I'll text them, okay, I'm leaving now. I'll be there in 20 minutes. And then I deliver the lasagna, I put it on their porch, and then I go back to my car and text them, the lasagna is out there, please have somebody pick it up. And they go ahead and they pick it up. They don't have to see me, they don't have to talk to
Right.
me. Sometimes, it's uncomfortable. They've never asked for help before,
Yeah.
and this is a way to kind of make it easier for them to get the
Sure.
help that they need.
Is there a limit to the number of times people can ask for help, or can they be on a regular schedule to receive lasagnas, or is this a you can ask one time and that's it?
Okay. That's a very good question. And actually, a person can request a lasagna every 30 days, but no
Okay.
sooner than that.
Okay.
So, but to request the lasagna, you have to go back online and fill out the
The
application
same
again,
thing
which is
again.
short.
Yeah.
Yeah. But every
Okay.
30 days they can. And we do have some, people who do that regularly.
Yeah. Delaware holds a special place in my heart.
Mm.
My family and I, and this was all when I was a teenager, my family and I drove up there 2 different summers, but one summer I got to go for about a month. And my grandmother went with me because my aunt who lived up there was pregnant and due, with her third baby. And my grandmother wanted to go so she could be there. And I wanted to go just because they took me. And so I
Mhm.
had fun. It was a new place when you're a teenager, especially going to a new area. Nobody knows you, you can just be
Yeah, right.
yourself. And it was just a very sweet summer for me. So Delaware will always
Whereabouts in
have a
Delaware? Do you remember where
Hockessin
it
is
was?
where she lived in
Oh,
Hockessin.
that's right near me.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. She lived up there. There was a church that she went to. I'm not even. I mean, this was in the late '80s, so I don't even know if it's still there. But I kind of spent time with the youth group in her church and got to meet people, and it was just fun. It was just fun.
Mm.
Very sweet memories.
I did want to point out
Uh-huh.
that this is a volunteer organization, volunteer
Yeah.
run organization. There
Yeah.
are only, remember, it's in all states and in two
Yes.
other countries. There's
Yeah.
only two paid employees and one
Hmm.
part-time contractor. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's pretty impressive.
It's
And
very
it
impressive.
speaks to the quality of the volunteers that they have as
Sure.
well, you
Sure.
know?
All of the people that I've talked to that have these nonprofits, they're doing such incredible things. I mean, just with every place, there are these people who are volunteering, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
easy and it's
amazing.
something everybody can do, Doesn't have to
Mhm.
take up all your time, it
Right.
can take up a little bit, but I think it's so important. So,
Right, right, exactly, exactly. And the
yes,
beauty of Lasagna Love is you do a lot of the volunteering right in your home,
sure.
Go
Yeah.
to the grocery store, come home and cook and just deliver it.
Exactly. I mean, I would probably cook me a lasagna and cook another one at the same time. We may be
Well, my
having
husband's
lasagna the
always
same
saying
night.
that. Yeah, my husband's my taste tester and he drives me to my deliveries and always
Yes.
wants me to make an extra one.
Yes. I'm sure he really enjoys being a taste tester. Mine would. That's too funny. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today. I'm excited about sharing this nonprofit. I'm excited about signing up. And I'm going to follow y'all on Facebook just so I can keep up with what everybody's doing. So,
Well, I so appreciate you reaching out to us. I really do.
sure. Sure.
Pleasure speaking
I'm
with you.
excited. Yes. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Alrighty. Bye bye.
Bye bye.